crawl over my suit. You can't do that. That award means a lot to me. I've given so many and had so many friends. I'd like to take a moment. Madam Chair.
Yes, please.
Vice Chair Fountain, President Rawls, Governor Barst, Madam Treasurer, members of the board, Carly, Caroline, Casey, and Kim, and friends, all of my friends. Please humor me a few minutes, if you will. Thank you. In 1970, the Beatles released a song called The Long and Winding Road. It was their 20th and their last #1 song in the United States before the band disbanded. It's always been my personal favorite, if you will. Paul McCartney wrote it while in Scotland, which is the home of my maternal ancestry. My mother's family is from Scotland. Sometimes noted as a melancholy tune, I find the sweet violins of the song and McCartney's golden vocals to be symbolic medley of life itself. If it does please the chair, I would like to take just a moment on this day and reflect about the long and winding road.
Please.
When I finished grad school in December 1980, I became Jones County's first county administrator. In Jones County, I learned about poverty. I learned about hard work, meager resources, a very small return, and the phrase, which I heard often, "You ain't from around here, are you, boy?" It was also the first time in my life I heard Governor Hunt give a speech, and I learned about Democratic politics. I made 2 lifelong friends in Jones County, Board Chair Horace Phillips, who attended mine and Kim's wedding, and Larry Meadows, who was the finance director. They remain dear friends. In 1982, 1 year later, Yadkin County hired me away. In Yadkin, I learned that people commuted morning and night long distances to Winston-Salem to work at such places as Piedmont Airlines, Western Electric, R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company, Payne's Hosiery, and furniture factories. But as President Rawls knows, economies change and circumstances change. None of these companies is known by their original name anymore. Some have morphed into other things, and some have completely gone away. On my first day in Yadkin County, Sheriff Jack Henderson walked into my office, threw his keys to the jail up on the desk, and said, "Boy, if you think you can run that jail better than I do, have at it." I didn't know quite what to think. I quickly said, "Sheriff, they didn't elect me to run the jail. They elected you to run the jail." He hitched up his breeches and took out his gun and said, "I think we're going to get along just fine." It was also the first time that I heard Governor Jim Martin give a speech, and I learned about Republican politics in Yadkin. I made 3 lifelong friends, the late Board Chair Grady Hunter, Ronald Eaton, County Commissioner, and Finance Director Jerry Nance, and we remain close to this day. But while in Yadkin, the winding road took a sharp turn. I was in the Government Executives Institute at UNC, and there I met 2 men who would change my life. Marvin Dorman, former state budget officer, and Community College President Bob Scott. They took me to dinner on my birthday, October 28, 1985, and insisted that I give up my county manager's job and come to Raleigh to work in the state budget office, to see the big picture, and to manage the community college, UNC, and UNC Chapel Hill budgets. In November 1986, I gave in to what Mr. Dorman and Governor Scott asked, and I came to Raleigh. In fact, I mentioned to Kim that we might have an opportunity to come home, and before I could get home that evening, she packed everything we owned and said we couldn't leave. Because I've worked with both political parties locally in Jones and Yadkin County, Democrats in Jones and Republicans in Yadkin, and I was certainly attracted by the allure of Governor Hunt and Governor Martin, I understood my role as a governor's budget analyst. That role was to represent their interests, the governor's interests, not mine, in the General Assembly. I learned the importance of establishing relationships, of being a man of honesty and integrity, of being accurate with facts and numbers because decisions were made on those facts and numbers. And I learned too, Madam Treasurer, former Senator, that a good bill is one that makes everybody just a little bit unhappy because it reflects the art of compromise. I learned that every person you call my name, that I will try to help, to respect people of differing opinions, and to be a public servant, Madam Chair. I made many friends, lifelong friends, among them Charlotte Todd, Jim Newland, Jim Johnson, Rob Nelson, who was the CFO at UNC. We grew up as analysts together. The late Barry Sanders, who I helped bury. Bruce Harrington, and my dear friend, and many of you know, former Deputy Budget Officer and State Controller Robert Powell, who to this day remains my very dear friend. The classic lyrics of the McCartney song are found in the first verse, and I quote, "The long and winding road that leads to your door will never disappear. I've seen that road before. It always leads me here. Lead me to your door." In September 1997, System President Emeritus Martin Lancaster led me to the open door of the North Carolina Community College system. My life's never been the same since I came through that door. My first board chair was Governor Dennis Wicker. My first finance chair was James Woody. My first campus visit was to Dr. Marvin Joyner at Central Carolina Community College, probably the greatest financial expert in the system's history. And the first presidential friend was someone who'd call me just about every Friday night, just before he became the voice of the Reynolds Rockets, K. Ray Bailey, and say, "Kennon, this is America's community college friend." But oh Lord, the people that have come to mean so much to me along the way. I've attended family members' funerals and tried to give encouragement or consoling. Governor Scott's, Madam Chair's father, Mr. Woody's mother, Ms. Turnage, and Ms. Steiner's husbands. I've attended or spoken at numerous retirements, applauding the amazing things that people in this system have accomplished, all for the benefit, Scott, of students just like you. Ed Wilson, Brian Brooks, Faye Wynn, Bill Lewis, Fred Williams, Doug Eason, David McLaughlin. I've counseled with presidents who've always been truthful, supportive, and most importantly, forgiving. Ron Lingle, John Dempsey, Brantley Briley, Gordon Burns. I have been blessed to work with incredible women pioneers who became presidents, vice or associate vice presidents. Pat Skinner, Lynn Bunch, my dear Marys, who kissed me on both cheeks, Mary Kirk and Mary Ripley, Myra Johnson, Debbie Lamb, Saundra Williams, Jennifer Haygood, Linda Weiner, Alice Smith, somewhere behind me, she's always there, and Sharon Marcy. I've partnered with outstanding chief financial officers who, while never compromising their principle, found a way to make things happen. Ward Preston, Betty Smith, Ray Marie Smith, Malone McNeely, who retires this month as well, Haiti Horn, and David Heatherly. Scott and I attended his son's funeral. All these people, and far too many more to name, have been people I've come to love and whom I call the most valuable thing that there is, friend. As I reach the end of my long and winding road that's left me standing here, as McCartney said, that song always breaks me up. Why I chose it for this, I'm not quite sure. There are three names not yet mentioned that have been with me along the winding road, whether the times were good or not so good. First, a man and a mentor who, through our painful technology implementation, Sandra, a brother to lean on for his wisdom in my dark days, and like a father when my daddy died, Herbert L. Watkins Jr. If I lived 100 years, I could never tell the man how much he means to me. Second, my twin son of a different mother, my brother of a different mother, Scott Wallace. Scott's been my friend and colleague from the first day I came in this building 15 and a half years ago. Together, we've shared laughter and tears, joy and sorrow, pain, success, challenges, late nights and early mornings. And yes, as my wife says, I've seen more movies with Scott Rawls and probably drank more beer and eaten more hamburgers and barbecue than anybody I know. Many road miles together. Even the Onion News once in a while, Scott, when nobody was watching, we close the door and laugh at me. But always, always the fellowship, the friendship of love. Thanks, Scott. Finally, there is one woman who's got a crown waiting for her, but if she gets one, I want one too, because it is an equal, my partner, Kim. You all as a board have listened to me sort of reminisce about a ramble down the long and winding road the past 32 years. But from the beginning to each stop, on the hilltops of success and in the valleys of despair, Kim's held my hand, believed in me, And each time we moved, she'd start all over with a crappy nursing shift at a new hospital, because that's what our family had to have. And she did whatever it took to keep our family moving forward. She really has. In fact, I've walked in many nights with my head hung low. She'd look at me, President Ray, and say, okay, boy, are you mad at me, or are you mad at me? Are you mad at the world? I could care less. But you're mad at me, you're going to deal with it right now. You're not the CFO, the Executive Vice President in this house. So let's just get it over with now. Simply put, thank you, Kim, for enabling and supporting me as we get together along the winding road. But you know, I'm most proud of not what I've accomplished. I guess I'm most proud to be called a family man. So, Madam Chair, on behalf of the Briggs family, thank you for last night, thank you for today, and thank you for the last 15 years.